Florida, man. Florida has officially become the epicenter of the 4th spike of the coronavirus in the United States. It is averaging 20,000 new cases a day of late, and 85% of the state's hospital beds are now occupied, according to the Florida Hospital Association. Quote, "It's bad right now," one Florida paramedic told BuzzFeed News, adding, "We're stacking patients in the hallways, stacking patients in the waiting room." End quote. So how has Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis reacted to this surge, this outbreak, you ask? Oh, as it was building, he issued an executive order that barred schools from mandating that children wear masks when they return for the 2021-2022 year, which runs directly counter to guidance provided by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in July that masks should be worn indoors by individuals age 2 and older who are not fully vaccinated. By the way, the CDC has since updated that guidance to say everyone 2 and older should wear a mask in schools. How, you ask, does DeSantis explain his seeming dismissal, just a dismissal of the CDC recommendations? Quote, "We think that's the most fair way to do it," DeSantis said of his mask move, adding, "Many Florida school children have suffered under forced masking policies, and it is prudent to protect the ability of parents to make decisions regarding the wearing of masks by their children." End quote. So it's freedom or something? I don't really know. Then there's DeSantis' explanation for the actual surge of cases in his state. It's not his unwillingness to pursue mitigation strategies like mask wearing and avoiding large gatherings indoors, but rather because it's COVID season in Florida. And yes, he really said that.
This is our COVID season. We thought we would see an increase. I don't know that we thought we would necessarily see this many positive tests.
COVID season. It's like football season. Let's pause for a little fact check on that, shall we? There is no such thing as COVID season. The coronavirus, unfortunately, isn't seasonal. Remember when Donald Trump told us that the virus would, in his words, miraculously disappear when temperatures warmed? Yeah, that was February 2020. Sure, summers in Florida are warm and lead to more time spent indoors and therefore quicker transmission. But this is not a seasonal virus. There's no COVID season. The disconnect between the worsening COVID-19 situation in Florida and DeSantis' focus on COVID season and making sure kids don't have to wear masks at school has one simple explanation: politics. Don't act surprised. Literally no one was surprised. DeSantis has made a name for himself, both in Florida and nationally, for his hands-off approach to the virus. Florida was one of the last states to shut down last spring as the enormity of battling COVID-19 came into focus. He was one of the first governors to reopen his state. He was quick to ban any sort of mask mandate in public and was seen at the Super Bowl in February 2021 maskless. His COVID? What COVID? Mindset was in line with the strategy employed by his mentor, Donald Trump. And as they did for Trump, the base of the Republican Party rallied around DeSantis, suggesting that he was somehow holding the line against political correctness and any further impingement on their freedoms. Now, for a very long time, this was great news for DeSantis. Despite the elderly population of Florida and his lax focus on mitigation measures to slow the spread of COVID-19, the state managed to avoid being at the center of much national attention, even as it was suffering along with many other states last summer. DeSantis' approach was taken by many Republicans as proof positive that Democratic and even some Republican governors were badly overreacting to both the threat COVID-19 posed to the public and the need to radically alter people's lives to keep it from spreading. Except now the Delta variant is running wild in Florida. The state is third in the country in cases per 100,000 residents with 101, according to the New York Times. Louisiana, by the way, is first with 126 cases per 100,000 residents, and Mississippi is second with 110. And because DeSantis doesn't want to risk the support among the Republican base should he decide to run for president in 2024, he is simply refusing to address the facts behind this surge in any meaningful way. As the Tampa Bay Times, Kirby Wilson and D.T. Coley wrote last month, quote, according to his daily schedule this past week, DeSantis did not hold any public events whose main topic was the summer surge. DeSantis held 2 events about the dangers of mandating masks in schools. In between, he traveled to Utah to speak at the conservative American Legislative Exchange Council conference. Throughout the week, Florida's governor criticized the federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for its recommendation that vaccinated people wear masks inside in some situations. End quote. In mid-August, DeSantis canceled a planned political trip to Nevada, which may be okay. But that decision wasn't because of the COVID surge in his state. It was because a tropical storm was marching toward Florida. At around the same time all that was happening, Florida was averaging 153 deaths from COVID-19 a day, a rate per 100,000 residents that put it behind only Louisiana, Arkansas, and Nevada nationally. Now, there's absolutely zero debate that the situation in Florida is dire. And yet, DeSantis' behavior hasn't changed one bit. This is what it looks like when politics and future political ambition crash directly into the practical realities of governing a state as influential and large nationally as Florida. And it's not a pretty sight. And that is the point. We make new point episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Check them all out.